Hand shaking, she flipped her turn signal and pulled into a street-side parking spot in front of the building that housed her studio. A bump signaled she'd hit the curb again. She couldn't bring herself to care. She exited the car and joined Eric on the sidewalk. "This way." She led him around the back of her building. "They were right about here." "You're sure?" "I am." Her heart sank. He didn't believe her either. She tried not to show her disappointment. "There were 3 of them. The attacker and victim were here, and the other one was leaning against the wall there." She pointed to the area a few feet away. "I didn't imagine it." "Didn't say you did, but according to Moore's notes, Mayor Jennings reported that you said the attack occurred over there." He thumbed over his shoulder, indicating the back parking lot of the office building next door. "No, I walked over there to double-check, but they were definitely over here." He pulled something up on his phone. "It says that you told Jennings it happened behind the building to the right of the alley." He looked up at her. She tried to remember exactly what she'd told the mayor, but that part of last night's events was blurry. Her headache wasn't helping. "I don't remember what I told him, but I sometimes get my rights and lefts mixed up. I could have said the wrong direction." She could feel the heat rising in her cheeks at the admission. Eric sighed and slipped his phone back into his pocket. "In that case, I can recheck for evidence, but there's a good chance this morning's rain washed things away already. I'll need you out of the area. Waiting in your car would be best." Her shoulders drooped and the pain in her head intensified. "I'm sorry. I should have just reported everything myself last night. If I'd been here, I could have cleared up the confusion." Eric's expression didn't change before she turned away, but when she glanced over her shoulder, he was already examining the area. She retreated to her car and locked herself inside. Something she wouldn't normally bother to do in Kincaid, but even in daylight, and with Eric nearby, returning to the scene of last night's incident was giving her the creeps. She angled to peer over her shoulder. Fire shot from her neck to her elbow, and she quickly returned to her previous position. Her muscles pulsed a reproach at her attempt to see down the alley. A fruitless attempt, considering she had pulled her car too far forward anyway. She leaned her head back and tried to ignore the pain. Think of something else. Last night. Evidence. Eric. Although she couldn't see him, she had every confidence he'd be thorough. If there was evidence to find, he'd be the one to find it. Moore was a decent cop and meant well, but he had a tendency to jump to conclusions, especially if they provided an easy answer. Eric wasn't like that. She could trust him. Some of her anxiety ebbed, and despite her pounding head and complaining muscles, she found herself relaxing into her seat.